The Lord of the Rings series was written by J.R.R. Tolkien in 1948 and was adapted to the big screen by director Peter Jackson in 2001. The books and film need no introduction as they are one of the biggest series ever written and filmed. While The Return of the King is my favorite of the three, winning 11 Oscars, today I'll be focusing on the first of the trilogy, The Fellowship of the Ring. One of the best scenes in the film is relatively close to the beginning, happening right after Bilbo Baggins leaves Bag End with the One Ring lying on the floor, passing it off to his nephew Frodo. Peter Jackson's use of mise en scène in this is shown at its best in the next scene showing Gandalf's distress. The outstanding performance of Ian McKellen, complemented with Peter Jackson's use of extreme close-ups, compositional stress, and deep space composition, translate a distressed, concerning tone as the One Ring is truly revealed. Jackson uses multiple filming techniques in this shot to convey Gandalf's confusion and worry regarding the ring. To get the context of the shot, the film just showed a close-up of the ring on the floor. This then makes the camera's point of view single character as we are taking the view of the ring. The next thing that comes to mind when looking at this shot is the unique and absurd framing. We see Gandalf looking curious and confused all in one shot. His curiosity and confusion is expressed as his face is scrunched up and his squint in his eyes. The eye line in this still is also very different than most shots, in the film having it be a vertical line rather than horizontal. It also reminds me of when a dog tilts its head as it seems perplexed and confused, as Gandalf is in this shot as well. The placement of the candles were also placed masterfully as they fill up the negative space on the screen but still give a confused tone. In this next shot, we see Frodo in the background with the ring in his hand as Gandalf stares deep in thought. When looking at Frodo, you can see the door is still open, which adds to the idea that he was so caught off guard with the ring that he didn't even have time to close the door. Jackson used Frodo as a deep space composition in this shot, which creates an interesting concept of Gandalf. With Frodo being the story's main protagonist and the ring essentially being the main antagonist, it is interesting that Jackson decided to put Gandalf up front and focused while Frodo is in the back and blurred. I don't think this was a mistake though. I think that Jackson wanted to emphasize on how Gandalf's worry and thought should give us context on how eerie and powerful the ring may be. The side lighting used in this shot is also very interesting as the pipe splits the light and the dark on his face. The side lighting shows two sides of the characters on screen, Frodo being the light as he is very innocent and vulnerable, while the darkness expresses Gandalf's fear of the truth behind the ring's purpose and its power. In this shot, you get an over-the-shoulder look at Gandalf, which really shows how stressed and worried he is. The use of side lighting is used again, this time showing Gandalf's worry of knowing what the ring really is and the fear of putting such a big burden on Frodo, as he knows Frodo must go to Mount Doom and destroy it. I also like this shot because it shows the realism of Gandalf and his anxiety. The strands of hair to the left of his face express more of how Ian McKellen took on the role of Gandalf and how he wanted him to seem as real as possible by not using a wig. The part of the hair to the right of his face not only again shows the realism of his character, but also adds a compositional stress in the shot. The hair in the middle of his face gave extra emphasis on his distress and worry of what is to come. As you can see in this next shot, Jackson decided to use a familiar image from the last scene that shows Frodo's vulnerability and innocence. The lighting in this shot is also very interesting as it seems to look like the light is coming from behind him. This could allude to the fact that something evil and powerful may sneak up on him, or that he is walking into darkness as he takes on the dangerous task of taking the ring to Mordor. The final shot, being one of my favorites in the entire film, has a lot to say in just one image. We get an extreme close-up of Gandalf's face as he gives his next line, which makes it hit like a boulder. Is it secret? Is it safe? This extreme close-up shows Gandalf's urgency and concern of the ring's secrecy. Jackson also used familiar image again with the strands of hair splitting the view of Gandalf's face. This time it makes it seem as Gandalf has been studying the history behind the ring and has taken no time off or gotten no rest. This is very ironic for a wizard to do because they usually know everything and are never hasty or stressed. Jackson also uses little to no lighting as it gives the illusion that he and Frodo are hidden from the Shire, just as he hopes the ring should be. Through the use of the film's extreme close-ups, compositional stress, and deep space composition, Peter Jackson is able to create an ironic, distressed character in which keeps the audience glued to the screen. In a scene that is filled with around 12 minutes of dialogue, Jackson is able to keep the audience engaged through his strategic use of mise en scène. He is also able to keep them entertained as he expresses the main objective of the film and the lost history of Sauron's ring.